Okay, so this is video number 30 in the Red Flags of a Narcissist series. Video number 30 is red flag number 30, which is his views on women. So I personally have a problem with this red flag. I did, however, want to include it in my mix of red flags because it does apply, but there's kind of this caveat that I want to put in there. So let me just back up and say a lot of the research that's been done, studies have been done, have shown that narcissists and antisocial personality disordered people, about 70 to 75% of them are men. A lot of these studies have been done in prison, and a lot of people that are convicted of kind of more violent or highly manipulative crimes, I think just tend to be men. I think a lot of women really fly under the radar for a lot of people. So not all narcissists are men, obviously. And so if you have a female narcissist, does that mean that she hates women too? Like, what does this red flag really mean? So I interpret this red flag a little differently, okay? I interpret it as narcissists, they're driven to feed their ego. Everything they do is about power and control. A lot of them tend to be sadistic, which means they like to inflict pain. And a lot of them are really big into humiliation and degradation. So if you kind of combine all of those elements, it really looks like that they hate women. However, I'm sure that there's a lot of men out there, or there's probably a lot of, lesbian couples out there that have experienced these things, or not even lesbian, but like gay men couple, gay male couples that have experienced, their male partner who has been, he's fine maybe with women, but he's, power and control. It's the sadism, it's the humiliation and degradation with the partner. Of course, like anything else with the narcissist, they tend to present to the outside world very differently, and then they reserve all of their bad behavior for their spouse or their significant other. So I really don't think that all narcissists are misogynists or women haters. I think it just comes out that way because the vast majority of studies have been done on male narcissists. So the humiliation and degradation, okay, all of these character traits can come out, and they do come out in very different ways. So, and that's something too with these videos, you guys. The whole reason I'm doing them is my goal with these is to kind of show you like a more like a broader spectrum of narcissism. Because I know when I was trying to figure out what was going on with me and why I, like the people that I had been dating, like what were they? I was coming across a lot of literature on narcissism that really didn't fit my situation. So please keep that in mind when you're going through these red flags. Some of them might come across as like absolutely spot on, and some of them might not apply to your situation at all. And there's a chance too you didn't see a lot of these red flags. I didn't see a lot of these until after we broke up, and then I was talking to other people. For example, when I was dating Steve, his wife, after talking to her, that gave me a tremendous amount of clarity, because I wouldn't have known any of that stuff had I not talked to her. Had I not talked to her, I probably would have thought that Steve was this fantastic guy, that there was something profoundly wrong with me, because that's exactly how I felt when that relationship ended. And that I would have taken him for face value, that he was homesick and that he went back home to take care of his ex-wife who had cancer. And thankfully she talked to me, and come to find out that none of that was even true. So sometimes you think you kind of know what's going on, but with a narcissist you really never do. They lie. It's kind of the old joke. How can you tell if a narcissist is lying? It's their mouth is moving. So okay, so back to humiliation and degradation. So this comes out, it can come out in different ways. It can be very obvious, right? The narcissist can make the victim do really humiliating things. They can make them dress overly sexy and then parade them around in public and take them out to dinner. They can do humiliating and degrading things in the bedroom. They could say that they want to treat them like a whore, right? And again, like with the whole sex scene kind of stuff, different people are into different things. So I'm kind of one of those like live and let live people. I don't think, if you've got a person that might be really into power and control dynamics in the bedroom, it doesn't make them necessarily a narcissist. It just means kind of like that's their sexual preference. What I do have a problem with is if it's one-sided. So as long as you have two, people, two consenting adults, that's, go for it behind closed doors. I don't care. But it's when you've got one person that's really manipulating another person. So, that humiliation and degradation, that can be, demanding a person do certain sexual positions that they're not comfortable with. It can be, against certain sex acts that they're not comfortable with. It can be name calling. It can be really being rough with them. It can be demanding that they make all of your meals. It can be demanding, like with my grandfather, he was a narcissist. He was also a minister. And he was a really awful person, but of course you wouldn't guess that if you met him, right? He was incredibly charming. This was back in I think it was the late 60s. He'd been running around on my grandmother the whole time. Even to the point where he'd gotten so brazen that he was taking these women home for dinner under the guise that it was for a Bible study or, whatever. And a lot of them were really young. A lot of them were underage, like 15, 16 years old. So really, terrible behavior, illegal, terrible behavior. But when she finally filed for divorce, it was in the paper. He was so horrified because, here's his public image, right, of this fantastic spiritual man. He demanded that she retract the statement, because it was in the newspaper, that she retract her, the divorce charges or whatever, and then also apologize. So here he is having all this behavior, and he's demanding that she apologize to people and basically help him save his public image. Not uncommon. So that would be a form of humiliation and degradation, right? It could be having the victim on a very tight budget, even assuming that there's no financial need for this, right? So let's say that they make plenty of money, but the narcissist insists on, okay, you only have $50 for groceries this month. And so now the victim has to keep coming to him or her and saying, I need some more money to buy groceries, and then they won't allow that. Or they'll insist maybe that you eat the burned food while they eat the good food. It's all of these little, I say little, but I mean, really, it's these day-to-day kind of acts that are humiliation and degradation that really build up over time, and people might not identify that as humiliation and degradation. Again, the sadism part, the causing pain. This can be physical pain. They could be very physically abusive, or it can be more of an emotional pain. So it could be little things like telling the kids that I'll go get ice cream. And then at the last minute saying, no, we're not gonna get ice cream. I've gotta go run some errands instead. And then bringing, it's the same with the kids as it is with the spouse. It takes people to the highest high and then it drops them to the lowest low. So now the kids are crying and they're all upset and they don't know what's going on. And it's just because dad needed to get on a power trip of dangling that carrot and then taking it away. There's so many different ways that power and control can manifest, and it can be very, very subtle. This was not a huge red flag in either of my situations at first. It wasn't until the relationships ended that I really noticed it. So for example, with Steve, when I finally called things off, I had to really kind of string him along because he owed me quite a bit of money. And, his whole goal was basically to just put me up a creek and then make me chase after him, or possibly even make me move back to New Mexico, which I think was kind of the ultimate goal there, and make me dependent on him, right? So he really, even though it was my money, he was able to manipulate the situation into where I bought him a truck, right? Not even a week before he left, knowing he knew for over a month that he was leaving when he was leaving. So he did that knowing that it was taking all of my savings and really putting me up a financial creek. And then he left, and then he wouldn't open contact with me. And so here I am losing sleep and freaking out and thinking how am I going to pay bills? I didn't have a job. I was brand new in Michigan. Didn't know a soul out here. It was absolutely terrifying. So that was a form of power and control. Silent treatment is a good example of power and control, right? And so that's when the victim, for whatever reason, the narcissist just decides to punish the victim. You didn't do something that they wanted, and so now they're not going to talk to you. Or you had the nerve to bring up a topic that they're not comfortable with. And so they don't want to discuss it anymore. So they're just not going to talk to you. The silent treatment happens in a normal relationship for maybe a day. Anything really longer than that, and that's even kind of a long time, anything longer than that, it's really considered emotional abuse because it's so uncomfortable for the victim that they will do anything just to get this person talking to them again because it's just torturous. So, so back to my example with Steve. So when that relationship ended, I called it off. He was livid. He'd, called me, I don't even know, 50 or so times. I wouldn't answer the phone. He was blowing up my email, sending me all kinds of emails, text messages, demanding that I talk to him. He finally sent me a text message saying, if you don't talk to me, I'm going to call your mom. And I still didn't answer. He ended up calling my mom. I couldn't get hold of her in time to say, don't take his calls. He called her and basically just said, tell Dana that I want her to check her email. To which my mother responded, well, she's an adult. I can't tell her to do anything. So yay, mom, for that. But, that was what he wanted. And so they ended their phone call. And then he texted me back and said, see, that's all I wanted. That wasn't that hard now, was it? And it was just all that power and control. Even though there really wasn't anything in my email, but in his mind, it was a win. And that's really what it is, this power and control. It's all about these small wins. It's wins that we as normal people, we don't even register as wins. So that's why you're seeing a lot of this bizarre lying. You might look back and think, why on earth would he have lied and said that he went to Walmart when really he went to Target? Who lies about that? The answer is a narcissist. And the reason being, if they can get you to believe some sort of small story like that, because who would question that? Because it doesn't matter, right? But the reason they do these little lies is it's a small win for them. It makes them feel smug and superior, and in their mind thinking, well, you're an idiot for believing that. But again, a normal person wouldn't question that. So that's kind of where you get to a lot of that gaslighting. So they might, move your keys and you put them on the kitchen counter, and then next thing you know, you find them in your purse, and you think, I must be losing my mind. I didn't leave them there. Well, they moved them, but it's that enjoyment of just kind of playing with your sanity like that. Or, there's just so many different ways that it comes through. Not apologizing or doing really suspicious behavior and then playing it off like it's not suspicious, that you have trust issues or you have commitment issues. All of these things lead back to that power and control. So again, on the surface, it looks like he might have issues with just women, but really I think it's a narcissist has issues with whoever they have issues in general, but they take out those issues, that whole narcissistic rage, that wrath that they have, that hatred, they just dump it on their partner. And that's how they really get their kicks. That's how they feel better about themselves. So that's it for red flag number 30. The next red flag is red flag number 31, the know-it-all. Okay, I'll see you soon. Oh, and as usual, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, ideas for videos, you just want to say hi, let me know. My contact info is down below. My website is narcissistsupport.com. I also have a support group on Facebook called Narcissist Support. Surprise, surprise. And as usual, love to you guys. You are not alone and you are not crazy, and you can heal from this and you can go on to have a really great life, okay? So take care. Be kind to yourself. Bye.